London, a city known for its kings and queens, its monuments and museums, and its centuries of history written in stone and bronze. But look a little closer and you'll find some of the city's most curious statues aren't of people at all. They're of cats.
The street cats of London town. The street cats of London town. The street cats of London town.
Today we are exploring London in search of 5 of its most beloved feline figures. The cat statues scattered across the capital, each with their own incredible story. We've just arrived on Highgate Hill, which is the location of the first cat that we're searching for, and it's a very famous one because it was owned by Dick Whittington. So let's see if we can find it. Would you believe it's May? Come prepared. Number 1. Dick Whittington's cat, Highgate Hill. This cat is on top of a plinth and there's railings around it. And I think I've spotted it. Meow. There it is. We begin on Highgate Hill, where a sleek little cat sits proudly atop a stone pillar. This is no ordinary moggy. It's the legendary companion of Dick Whittington. According to the story, young Dick walked to London to seek his fortune. When times got tough, he turned to leave the city, but as he reached this hill, he heard the bells of St. Mary Le Bow predicting his future and calling him back. Turn again, Whittington, thrice Lord Mayor of London. He turned back, and he later became just that. It's a story from rags to riches, all with the help of his cat, who is said to have helped Whittington earn his fortune by dealing with rats. Whether myth or truth, this cat has become a symbol of loyalty and a dash of magic in London legend. These cats are scattered all over London, so now we're going to hop back on the tube to try to find the second one. And if you'd like to know exactly where they are, stay tuned to the end of the episode and I'll disclose exactly where they are and which tubes you have to take. Number 2. Bob the street cat, Islington. This is Bob the street cat, and you might have heard of him because he's quite famous now. He was rescued by James Bowen, and now there's a book and a film all about this Ginger Tom. In Islington sits a statue that honours a real-life bond between man and cat. This is Bob the street cat, the Ginger Tom who changed a life. Bob was rescued by James Bowen, a recovering addict and busker. The pair became inseparable, with Bob perching on James' shoulder as he played guitar on the streets. Their story became a book, then a film, and an inspiration to millions. Bob died in 2020, but this statue ensures his legacy lives on, a story of hope, recovery, and the healing power of animals. I wonder if it's good luck to stroke the cat, or as we say in Bristol, smoothing the cat. While we're here, we're going to try to find platform 9 3/4. We found platform 9 3/4, and judging by it, so is everybody else. You have to pay £15 to get a photograph, a digital photograph, so we've decided to pass. Let's find some more cats. Number 3. Trim, the cat of Matthew Flinders, Euston. There it is. This is Trim, and he belonged to Matthew Flinders, who famously navigated around Australia and mapped the coastline. Outside Euston Station stands the great navigator Matthew Flinders, the man who mapped the coastline of Australia. But look closely, at his feet is his loyal cat Trim. Trim was born aboard ship and sailed thousands of miles with Flinders, even surviving shipwrecks and capture. Flinders described him as faithful and affectionate, a true companion in an age of high adventure. He's honoured not just in London, but in Sydney too, a seafaring cat with statues on both sides of the world. I like the way this one's been sculpted. You can sort of see all the clay marks. Number 4. Sam the Cat, Queen Square Gardens, Bloomsbury. The next cat is somewhere within this square. Found it! This is Sam, and Sam belonged to a local nurse called Patricia Penn. Patricia's now passed, so this statue was built in her memory. Now I've heard that when Patricia worked in the nearby hospital, that if she had heard rumours around the ward, she would say, "Sam told me so and so." Tucked away in Queen Square Gardens is one of London's quieter feline tributes. This is Sam, a black and white cat who frequented the nearby hospital buildings during the 70s. The bronze statue actually commemorates Patricia Penn, a nurse and former resident of the square. Sam was adored by the local community, hospital staff and patients, and reminds us that sometimes it's the small, gentle presences that leave the biggest mark. There's also a geocache here. I know that we're looking for cats, but I just have to stop by this postbox topper. Number 5. Hodge, Gough Square. We're approaching our 5th and final feline friend now, and this cat belonged to Dr. Johnson. The real-life Hodge would have been seen running around Gough Square in the 18th century. He belongs to Dr. Samuel Johnson, and Dr. Samuel Johnson is famous for this, the very first English dictionary. Dr. Johnson adored Hodge, describing him as a very fine cat indeed. The statue shows him sitting beside a pile of oysters, Hodge's favourite treat, which Johnson would personally buy so his servants wouldn't be burdened. If you leave a coin by Hodge, then you'll receive some good luck. These statues might be small, but they carry the weight of big stories, of loyalty, love, legend, and the bond between humans and their feline companions.
The street cats of London town.
So the next time you come to London, keep your eyes peeled, because you might just find one of our whiskered friends. All that cat hunting is thirsty work. I'm heading straight to one of London's most historic pubs, the Old Cheshire Cheese, where Samuel Johnson and many other historical figures enjoyed their favourite tipple. This is where Dr. Samuel Johnson sat, and then a century later, this is where Charles Dickens sat. Cheers from the Cheshire Cheese, one of London's oldest pubs. If you enjoyed this tour of London, exploring it and finding the cats, make sure that you subscribe for our next adventure, where we visit the most interesting and oldest pubs in London.
The street cats of London town. The street cats of London.